Good morning. Craig Howard here this morning. Happy to be with you. Um, I said that really quick, like it really wasn't true, but it really is. I really am happy to be with you this morning. Uh, I don't know if you've ever been lost in the woods in a snowstorm. I have. In fact, it wasn't that far from here. I It was during doe season, and the snow had just started to fall. There was already several inches of snow on the ground, quite a bit actually. And I figured that just right up over here in the woods in some pines, there'd probably be some deer laying in those pines. So Camille was fixing dinner, and I said, I'm just going to run over here into the pines and see if there's anything laying in there. And so I headed off over into the pines, and I got there, and sure enough, there were deer laying there, but they heard me coming, and I saw them jump up and head back off into the woods towards the mountain. There went Lucy. Uh, Head off back into the woods. So I thought, you know what? In this snow, it's going to be easy to track them. If I'm just careful and cautious, I can sneak up on them. And so I started tracking them through the woods and through the snow, and it was easy. And I did come up on them about 3 times, and each time I jumped them up, and they took off, and they went deeper into the woods and further. Finally, it's starting. I'm like, they're on to me now. They're watching for me. There's no way that I'm going to be able to do this. And so I turned around and I thought, if I cut right through here, I should be able to sort of take a shortcut back home instead of backtracking myself. Well, the snow is falling really heavy now. Normally, from here, Route 220 is right down there and runs along on the way to Franklin. And so from up here in the mountain, I can usually hear cars on 220, but on this particular night, this particular evening, the snow, there was nothing moving on the roads. Usually I'll hear jets. Jets will run, they run from over in the east around DC, Dulles, and they're heading west. And so I can get my bearings that way. Nothing this night. So I start home, and I got turned around. I didn't know where I was at. And I fell. I was covered in snow. I couldn't see the hazards that were under the snow. They were covered up, the logs and things like that. And so many times I fell. The snow now is up over my knees. And I got really cold. And a couple times I wasn't sure I was going to make it home. I even sat down one time and said, Lord, please, I don't want to leave Camille to raise Ryan alone. And I was scared, and I was cold. I was as cold as I'd ever been. I didn't dress to be out in that. I just had on a pair of jeans and a coat and a pair of gloves. I didn't have on heavy clothes. I didn't have on like my bibs and all that kind of stuff. And so I was really cold. Now let's talk hypothetically for a minute. I'll tell you the rest of the story. I did obviously get out okay, and I found my way out, and I didn't find my way back to the house, but I found my way down to the Ruritan building, and I started following a stream bed in the valley until I came out. But anyhow, what if on that particular night, off in the distance, I had seen a plume of smoke rising over the trees? And I had followed that plume of smoke, and there had been a cabin. And I look in the window of the cabin, and there's a roaring fireplace. And I check the handle on the door, and the door is open. And what if, this is just hypothetical, it didn't really happen, but what if I open that door and I walk in and I walk up to that fireplace and I put my hands up to the fireplace, the roaring fire in the fireplace, and I put my hands and myself up to that fireplace, and I stand there for 10 seconds and then I turn around and walk back out into the snow and into the cold, would I have actually been warmed up? Would I actually be warm? Well, no, I wouldn't have been. It takes longer than 10 seconds to allow that heat to soak into your body and warm yourself back up and warm yourself all the way through. 10 seconds, you can't even get the front of you warm, let alone turn around and get the back of you warmed. But that's the way a lot of people approach prayer. You know, prayer is this, it's the way they approach the Word of God. It's the way we approach prayer. It's the Word of God and prayer is this flaming fire that warms our hearts and just brings that power and passion of the Word of God into our hearts. But even though they've been out in the cold and they're freezing spiritually, they'll walk up to the Word of God and spend 10 seconds. They'll walk up to prayer and they'll pray for 10 seconds. And then they'll go on. You know, the Bible makes a statement. Let me get to it. I let it sit and it went to. It says in Romans chapter 12, verse 12, rejoice in hope, be patient in trouble and tribulation, be constant in prayer. Not just occasionally be involved in prayer, but be constant in prayer. Make it a regular part, not just a 10-second part of your life. Make it a regular part of who you are. Stop walking up to the fire for 10 seconds and then going back out into the cold. Be constant in prayer. Make it a continual part of your daily routine. Something to think about. Don't get caught out in the cold. Don't get caught out in the snowstorm. Let me tell you, it's scary. Well, you have a great day today. Mom, Dad, if you're watching, I love you. I'm already long, so I'm going to get off here. God bless y'all.